Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru back again for UFC 273. Alexander Volkanovsky taking on the Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung in your featherweight title match. And you also have as your co-main event for the bantamweight title, Peter Yan versus champion Aljamain Sterling. Going to be an interesting one for sure. But before we can get into that, we have Cage Side Press's very own, the humanizing athlete portion of his question, man. What he's got going on right now is huge and so awesome. I mean, it's him and Marcel, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport in the MMA game, man. Alex Behunin, thank you so much for joining us again, my brother.
Oh man, it's a pleasure. It's my pleasure, man, and thank you for inviting me back. I had a lot of fun last time. I think it's been a little bit too long.
Agreed.
But I think that's on my fault because I've just been fucking busy. So I'm back, and thank you again for having me.
Dude, you're
so
a grinder,
awesome
man. You're a real grinder, a hard worker. You're always tweeting. You're tweeting interesting stuff. You're tweeting funny stuff. You got the scoops on everything, man. You just have your finger on the pulse in a way that I don't really, like I said, like nobody really does. So I know as just a fan, like I'm just so appreciative of what you do for the space. So, and then to come on you're just the best, man. So seriously, I can't wait to break down these fights.
Hey, I really appreciate the kind words, man. I really do. Like it really touches my heart. I did it, man.
I don't think I'm like alone. I definitely speak for TV. Nope. I think I speak for all MMA Twitter, honestly, because you're just like an all around really nice guy. But all right, I'm gonna hop off the dick. Let's get on the let's get down to the fights,
baby. So yeah, as we pull up the stats here, ladies and gentlemen, as the Guru so beautifully alluded to, we got some championship fights going on. And the first one for the belt in the 145 division, we got Alexander the Great Volkanovski versus the Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung. I mean, if we're talking fireworks, this is where we're closing off the night, and I think we're in for quite a fight. I mean, Volkanovski, he brings the pressure, the pace. He's got the cardio for days. I mean, this guy, man, he's just such a good fighter. And the Korean zombie, man, he's not one to back down from a fight. So you see the line right now, minus 720 for Volkanovski and plus 500 for the Korean zombie. I mean, like, yeah, you want to break down like all the technical stuff. Yeah, I'm leaning on the Volkanovski side, but like Guru, I mean, that line's really sliding at this point, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I really couldn't even imagine a time where such a great fighter, such as the Korean zombie, would be an underdog in such a way. You know, he hasn't had a title. Hello, T. He hasn't had a title fight since the Jose Aldo fight, right? Like it's been a long time. It's great to see him back in this spot. Korean zombie, no stranger to main events. I think it's like 10 straight 5-round fights for this guy. He's a savage. With all that being said, one of the things that Alex Volkanovski said in his embedded, I don't like to take what fighters say too seriously, but one of the things he said is that he's viewing this as a legacy fight. And the second thing is that he wants to show how much better he is everywhere, on the feet, on the ground, the fight IQ, that there's levels to this champ shit. He said, like, respectfully, that he'd be extremely disappointed that he wouldn't get the finish inside the 3 rounds. And when you hear that kind of talk, he doesn't give a shit about the betting odds. He's not taking his eye off the ball. He's not worried about the next contender. He's not negotiating contracts. He just seems like a laser. Like he just seems like on another level right now. You said it right. No, it was Dan Tom. Dan Tom had said, we're really going to see who's going to be challenging Usman for pound. It was like a big Twitter post. And from this card, and I think that Alex Volkanovski is going to be the major one to supplant himself as that pound for pound guy.
Oh, okay.
So, but we got to hear from our guy Tank Abbott. Tank, what do you think?
my fellow Alexander, yeah, man, he's super underrated, man, and he's unappreciated. Although I think people really saw just how good this guy is in his last performance when he just beat down Brian Ortega, and he survived that dangerous guillotine. Because I'm willing to bet, dude, 98% of fighters would have tapped to that. It was tight.
Oh yeah.
It was tight.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
His head was purple.
Yeah, it is insane, and even Alexander was humble enough to say, like, dude, I was fucking in trouble. I was in trouble.
He just said it. I just watched an interview he had. He just said like the lights were closing in. It was DC and Ryan Clark. Yeah, he's like the lights were shutting in. Like I thought it was up. So yeah, like you said,
man, it's crazy. I mean, these lines, even for the next two fights, they're kind of offensive to me. Like it's like they're so heavy favorites and such heavy underdogs. But I mean, Alexander Volkanovski is on another level right now. I think it's either Korean Zombie's going to knock him out first, second round, or it's going to be a 5-round beatdown. And I think Alexander Volkanovski is on a path where he wants to start finishing people, so that people, because I think that's why people don't view him as like in like the upper echelon of these fighters. It says he doesn't finish a lot of his fights yet as champion. You know what I'm saying? So if he goes out there and finishes the Korean Zombie, I think he'd be on another level. But I think it's going to be a beatdown, unfortunately.
Yeah, for the record, his last finish was against Chad Mendez at Jones Gustafson too. So it's been a minute. 2018.
It's been a minute. Although, if the Korean Zombie pulls it off and becomes champion, I will probably shed I will 100% shed man tears, because I would love to see him be champion, just because of all the, he's a legend to me. So
absolutely, he's everybody's, like, if you're a real hardcore fan, I mean, you love him from the WEC Twister, you love him from the Yair Rodriguez fight, like, I mean, you've been watching him for a while, you know. And I couldn't agree more.
I mean, ultimately, when it comes down to what we're going to do for our pick here, I mean, we got in on Volkanovski last week to make sure. Guru's been on Volkanovski for months now. So he really beat a lot. I mean, what'd you get him, like minus 400, minus 500 when you took him?
I actually have to pull that up. I think maybe less.
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to be the first leg of our best bet parlay this week. So, if you want to take a look, skip ahead and see where we're at, you go to that Bet MMA Tips. You'll see Volkanovski there. But if you wanted to play a prop in this fight, I mean, I was thinking there were a couple things that I was looking at here. I mean, Volkanovski inside the distance at plus 165, or Volkanovski by knockout at plus 200. I do think he's looking for a finish in that punishing nature. I do think that we could see it shine out with a guy like Zombie, where, I mean, you look at these striking numbers. I mean, Zombie just doesn't move his head enough, and also he's going to be susceptible to that calf kick. So he's just going to be getting beat on all levels. I think that the wrestling will be there for Volkanovski if he needs it. And overall, I mean, I do envision the beatdown side for Volkanovski, and to fade the narrative a little bit, instead of that minus 135 by decision, I'm going to go for inside the distance at plus 165. I could see a knockout or a sub.
Yeah, it's very possible. I really do think that Volkanovski wants to show he's on another level. One of the things that's super concerning about Chan Sung Jung, and it always has been, it's the way that he strikes. He does not mind getting hit, and against Volkanovski, who makes it his life's mission kind of not to get hit, he's so sound defensively. He's gonna punish Chan Sung, and I do worry about his chin long term in that respect. It's been a while, obviously, since he's been finished, since that Yair Rodriguez fight, and then the only other one was round 4 to Jose Aldo, like we had mentioned as well. Again, and other than that, it's been a really long time. Yeah, I like Volk here. I have Volk parlayed with our big parlay on our Bet MMA. As you'll see, I have Volk, like you said, from a couple weeks ago, parlayed with Paddy Pimblett and Ilya Topuria. So personally, for this fight, I'm not necessarily looking at any props. I guess I kind of lean, like Volk kind of said, at round 1, 2, or 3 for him plus 280. I would maybe take a little stab on that, but I kind of like your in the distance play better. And I'm not super sold on it because I think Korean Zombie is a tough guy and it could go the distance.
Definitely. I mean, any last thoughts on this one, Alex?
Like I said, it's either Zombie's going to knock him out or Zombie's going to get beat down.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, that brings us on to our co-main event. Our first/second title fight, however you want to chop it up here. But I mean, this one in the bantamweight division, and you got a unification bout. Aljamain Sterling, the title holder, but Jan, he gets the interim belt there, against Sandhagen. And man, I gotta say, just seeing the overall output, the body of work that Jan puts in from time in, time out, the guy's not afraid to just piece you up over the distance. And yeah, I mean, we saw a great error of ways, breaking the rules. Just Jan throwing that nice illegal knee at the advice of his corner. Well, guess what? His corner is not going to be there this time to fuck him up. So, I mean, but right now you see the line is -490 Piotr Jan and +360 Aljamain Sterling. There is obviously some recency bias baked into it. But I mean, Sterling, coming off of that spinal surgery, the neck, kind of repairing some stuff he had going on there. But I mean, we see him coming back looking shredded out the gym. And I think one of my questions is like, you saw kind of how that first fight played out in the grappling exchanges. And did Sterling feel a little soft or weak in those spots? Did he feel the need to bulk up a little bit? And for a guy that already tried to put on a high volume approach and gassed out, what's that going to do to him if he did bulk up a little bit here too? So I'm interested to see specifically how this fight plays out. I don't really necessarily have a great prop I'm feeling for this one because I could see this one ending early from Jan. I could see this one going the distance as a battle split decision, but at the end of the day, I just see Piotr Jan walking away as the winner. Guru, where are you at on this one?
It's hard to disagree with anything that you said. I do want to just highlight how utterly, and I'm sorry, our boy Alex is going to mention it too, how utterly ridiculous these lines are. We were so fortunate. Again, let's, cards on the table. When this fight was announced the first time, like when they were first going to fight, we kind of were leaning-ish the way of Aljamain. And as the week kind of progressed, we did some more research and felt very confident in our Peter Yan side, especially at the line. The line was like -120. Like when we felt good there. Cool. -450, -480, -500 and more. Dude, Aljamain Sterling is a real fighter. I think he's a dang clown, but he's legit, man. He's good. And the thing that people seem to forget is that first fight, man, Peter Yan wins the first round. It's a damn close one. He drops the second round. To me, with I think hopefully a trained eye, I think he kind of strategically takes that round off, is a computer seeing what else Sterling has, and Sterling eventually kind of punches and grapples himself out. He's exhausted in rounds 3 and 4. I think Peter Yan's just too good right now. And I don't know where Aljamain's going to take it. He has a legendarily, notoriously bad punching power. Like, it is horrible. Aljamain Sterling has no cracking ability, so that's a problem.
Look at those knockdown stats.
It's horrible. It's really, really, really. I think he's one of the only people in UFC to have like that many fights and no knockdowns. Like, it's really crazy. And then you look at those grappling exchanges where Aljamain was supposed to be that dominant wrestler, and I was rewatching the fights with my dad this week, and it was just like. You watch Aljamain, he's grinding on him, trying to get these takedowns, trying to trip him. He little brothers him, big brothers him. He just like Muay Thai trip right behind him, push down, right on the ground, easy. Like he didn't even break his. Of course, he broke a sweat too, but it seemed like he was so technically above Aljamain in there. Maybe Aljamain wasn't prepared. I feel like I'm going on and on. Jan should have this. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, -480. I've seen -520. It's fucking offensive. It is like, what the, like, I don't know if it's just like people hate betting on Aljamain Sterling or something, or what. Because man, I mean, and I think I think everyone can agree the way that Aljamain handled him getting the belt was not the best, but like you have to take that out of it, dude. Like he's a really, 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 really good fighter. And I tweeted about it the other day, like, dude, like he handled Corey Sandhagen, dude. And people can call it a fluke all they want. I don't give a fuck. He put Corey Sandhagen to sleep in under 2 minutes. Yeah. Who else has done that?
Nobody.
Yeah,
nobody.
Nobody. It's so legit. I mean, you're totally right. I mean, he absolutely beasted him, man, and it's crazy. People, and one of the things that you really mentioned that I really want to touch on, and it's one of the main points of our show. Fuck that narrative. Fade that narrative. Like just because people don't like him, people don't want to bet on him. People like Russian fighters, like that. You got to be really weary of that shit. And I said it to I forgot who this week, but I was like, listen, of those three big ones of Shimayev, of Jan, and of Volkanovski, of the three I thought would be most likely to lose, I said it would be Peter Yan. And again, I feel very confident about Peter Yan. I just think of the three, he's probably facing the tougher stylistic matchup, the crazier odds, the more bigger mountain. I don't really know what it is. That's just my I don't know, my take on it.
It's people are letting it's the same thing. Just so it's like the same thing with like Colby, right? Where people let their hate of Colby bring it into like the breakdowns and stuff. It's like, dude, like take Aljamain acting like a clown out of it. Yeah. The dude is a very, very, very good fighter. And him coming into the fight healthy, with off surgery, and he looks yoked, he looks in shape, and he's confident. It's like he's walking around knowing something that we don't know. You know what I'm saying? And that's like that to me always is so fascinating when but with that being said, like Peter Yan is, man, he's so fun. He's very, very, very good. I mean, I think you guys already kind of broke down the first fight. I just think that I think it's a very close fight, much closer fight this time, and I don't think I see this going 5 rounds. I do, and I don't. I am picking Yan. But I would not be surprised on Sunday if everyone's like, "Oh shit, Sterling is real."
Wow. To kind of round out your point and come full circle, I actually think I found like a good analogy for this fight as far as the betting line, the hype coming into it, the rematch status. Maybe this is kind of like the Usman Covington deal. I mean, that fight was super close. Me and Guru live in attendance. I mean, we were questioning ourselves as that fight headed to the scorecards, like what it might end up being. But I think at the end of the day, that's why I felt comfortable throwing Petr Yan and as part of our best bet parlay is that, yeah, this fight might end up playing out closer. But it just seems like when you take a look at that knockdown, the statistics here, like, Yan has landed 10 in his career in 9 fights and Sterling 0 through 15. So it's like that similar type of idea with like when you're facing a volume-based guy like a Covington or a Sterling, it's like if you're able to download their game plan and now Yan has spent 4 rounds in there with Sterling and now he's downloaded that game plan, something that Yan in-fight adjustments are his thing. I mean, this guy's 90% takedown defense and he only got taken down that one time by Sterling that first go around and boom, immediately pops to his feet. I mean, ultimately, that's why I feel comfortable throwing Yan in as the parlay piece, but yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised this thing goes the distance and Sterling keeps and wins 2 rounds. I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't think he can win a 5-round decision against a guy like Yan.
Yeah, one thing that you go, Alex.
No, you go.
Well, I was just gonna say one thing that we touched on, but I just wanted to make sure was like a caveat to why I also really like Yan is that he just fought Corey Sandhagen. Aljamain's been off. he's got, I don't want to say he's got ring rust, but it's been a while since he's fought. I love that Peter Yan just went 5 rounds with Corey Sandhagen. I love that he showed that he's a computer, kind of lost those first 2 rounds to Corey Sandhagen, but purposefully to see what Corey's got, takes no damage and squashes him like a bug, like to the point where it's like you at the end of the fight, there was no question who won. So like that's where that first fight with Aljamain was going. And I really struggle to see a way that Aljamain gets it done. It would have to be crazy quick submission, which again, or crazy split decision. Because like we said, the not being able to knock people out in MMA is a fucking problem. It's a problem in terms of handicapping. It's a problem in terms of game planning your fights. Like he's got to throw all this weird spinning shit to make up for it. Like he's got, with all this cardio, when you got to mix in it's too much. Jan's really fucking good, man. So line's crazy, but I think it ends up getting done.
One last thing I want to add is
Sure,
Eric Nixick did an interview with Dean Thomas, and he brought up some good points. He was like, that first fight, Aljamain, it was Aljamain's first title fight, right? So a lot of emotions, the lights, and maybe he sprinted in that first round, all those takedowns, because he knew like his neck was screwed up, so he had to try and finish him, right? And so that's what Terrence McKinney came into that fight, like tried to finish Drew over because he knew he only had 1 round to do it, or else he was going to be ass, So that's kind of a thing. It's just I think Aljamain has sat out for a year watching that fight over and over and over and over. So I think it's going to be.
What you're saying totally makes sense, and when you look at the tape, Aljamain very well could have had a complete gas dump. He threw like 70, 80 strikes in that fucking first round, which was absolutely insane. So if he can tail that back a little bit and maybe keep that extended pace going for a little bit longer, continuing to stifle, Peter's offense for enough time, maybe he can steal it. I just think that even when in the moments where Aljamain was in control, Jan was he was still the puppet master in control. So like metagaming him kind of. But yeah, I think we've fleshed this one out, Alex. Thank you. Like I love that journalist look though, man, that different lens, because I know you don't come from the handicapping gambling lens per se, and of course you come from a fight fan lens, but that extra, getting in the minds of the fighters, something that you do best. So that's one of the reasons we love to have you.
All right, so that brings us. I think I hear something.
My God!
The train's coming in. The hype train coming on through the station. I mean, listen. Gilbert Burns versus Hamza Shimayev. Shimayev minus 510. Burns plus 375. I'm a self-admitted like hipster, a hater. Like when these big hype trains are coming up, I love trying to find a reason to fade them. And man, there's like all the reasons in the world why you could see Shimayev coming out on top in this spot. But like, man, I'm admittedly a little bit biased. So like where Guru might have wanted to throw like Shimayev in that big bet parlay earlier in the week, I've been kind of holding and feeling a little weird. I mean, is Burns really the guy to get this done? Is he the one to push Shimayev to that next level that he hasn't really had to kind of buckle down and taste so far? I mean, I keep on thinking, man, like this guy just fought for the title. He rocked Usman on the feet. Gilbert Burns, I mean, like that he could be the guy. And then you go back and you're like, well, used to be a 155er, now up at the 170. He's 4 inches shorter, giving up 4 inches of reach. He's been chin checked. I mean, ultimately, like, dude, I don't know if I'm running to play the Gilbert Burns side here, but I do think that last time when I was talking about Lee and the over, is like the over the spot here, or is Burns the pick? But like I'm admittedly a little biased here, so I'll let Guru take this one away because I feel like he's gonna have a few stronger opinions.
Yeah, listen, I hate that we didn't really play. What's up, Drew Allen? Woo Allen? Sorry, bud. I don't know how to say your name, but thanks for stopping in, pal. Yeah, very upset that we missed out on the Li Jingliang Chimaev line. Again, the line was ballooning up. We thought, Lee's go, oh, it's his first legit fighter. Maybe, he can keep it at distance. Bro, he faked a strike, went straight for his hips, dragged him over to Dana White, and smashed. He did smash. Like, he did his thing. And it's really tough, man, to think he might not do something similar to Gilbert Burns. Yeah, I mean, he definitely is a little green in that respect, but like, man, it's that classic saying, it's he's doing exactly what you were supposed to do with the competition. And again, in a way that even more so, he's taken absorbed one strike over 4 fights. It's fucking insane. You're supposed to get into a fist fight. Like,
So,
that's the game here. And
do you want to see him play from distance, or do you want to see him grappling in this spot?
So that's like, to me, it's like one of the things we've seen. It's like, and we see him later on this card with Fluffy Hernandez. It's like, when you get hit in the face, your black belt don't mean shit. If you've got enough training on the ground, you know what to do down there, especially if you're savvy enough. We watched somebody and it frustrated the shit out of me, like Gunnar Nelson versus Sato. He kept trying the same fucking submission over and over and over and over from the same way, over and over, and he was so one-dimensional. I don't think Chimaev is one-dimensional in the way in which he's going to attack on the ground. We know, of course, Gilbert Burns isn't, but I don't know that Gilbert Burns can hurt him on the feet. I don't know that he's going to gain any respect from Chimaev. Like, Chimaev's that guy that, like, yeah, he may be a little green, but I've said this before too in other fights. He may not, like, he's got the what am I trying to say? The being, he doesn't have any reason to be scared. He's seen no ghosts. He's had no war stories. He's felt no danger, right? He has no reason to be trepidatious. He has no reason to give Gilbert Burns any respect. Why? Because we do? It doesn't. That's not how it works. I'm gonna kill everybody. I'm gonna eat you all. Like, he's fucking crazy. He's not thinking the way that we're thinking. Humanizing athletes. I don't know if you can humanize Hamza Chimaev. He's a fucking dog, man.
Unless your name is Darren Till.
Right? Yeah, that's funny as fuck. That's really funny. I'm gonna tell you right now, if Ian Gary goes down and Chimaev smashes like I expect him to, I'm a fucking Chimaev you, man, for having us put Gary in there instead of him.
Whoa. You were the one telling me we needed to take Ian Gary a week before that, so chill out, bro.
Well, I did, because
you wanted to add Chimaev.
Yeah, I liked him at minus 190. I liked him at
minus 240.
Now, then he moved up to minus 240. Anyway, a couple bickering aside, I think Chimaev is gonna get it done, man. Gilbert Burns is just, I mean, look at all that red, man. It's a problem. Alex, give me the scoop. Give me the inside scoop, buddy. What do you got for us?
Gilbert brought up something during media day today. He's like, yes, I respect him, but who the fuck has he fought? Basically, he said, like, all right, yes, his last win was good, but like, all right, John Phillips, Reese McKee, all right,
Gerald Mearshart, yeah, and Li Jingliang.
What?
Yeah, it's not
like,
nope.
What he's done is super impressive, and he's hyped for a reason. But like, Gilbert Burns is that next echelon, and Gilbert said, like, no one he fought like knew how to wrestle him. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just all got taken down, and that was it. Like, Gilbert's really good on, like, he is one of the best Brazilian artists in the UFC, Brazilian jiu-jitsu artists in the UFC, bar none,
for sure.
And I think that could cause a problem if it goes that way. And he is a good striker too, dude. Like, he knocks people out. He knocks people out. I am on the Hamza high train as well, but I just feel like people are disrespecting Gilbert Burns a lot. And like, dude, he was close to becoming champion. He knocked down Usman, and if he would have just kind of like maybe just done something, like maybe try to take him down or something, like, who knows what could happen, right? But that's what if. right? We're playing in a what if scenario. It's just not. It's it's fiction. So
Alternate
I just
universe.
feel alternate universe, right? Exactly. So I'm not like I just don't think Hamza's gonna run through Gilbert Burns. I don't think so at all.
I just try to think about it the other way. So the fight starts. Okay, touch glove. Maybe no touch of glove. Okay, and they're at distance. Burns is trying to do what? You want to get inside? Do you want to fake and maybe try to take down Shimayev, try to throw him off that way? You want to try to quickly grab his back? Because you don't want to pitter pat with him at kickboxing range. I don't see that. You want to maybe make it dirty boxing, hit him in the clinch. You think you're stronger than him there? I don't know. It's really tough, especially with the reach.
I think you're looking to gas out Shimaev. I think the question is ultimately why I don't feel 100% comfortable picking Burns, where I really want to give him my bias, but like the thing about Burns is he hasn't really shown to have like the best gas tank. So it's like if Shimaev is the one grinding out, going for these crazy takedowns, and Burns is scrambling, and Shimaev is a strong fucking dude. So that's where I think he's going to be expending energy to escape these positions. And it's about denying the initial takedown, denying the chain wrestling, separating, reversing. But I mean, how many times can you do that as the smaller guy before you yourself are gassed out as well? And it's like, man, he needs to start Shimaev early. Like, have we seen anybody really hurt Shimaev? Not.
We haven't seen anybody hit Shimaev.
That's it. So it's like you're taking a chance kind of both ways. But I mean, Burns is like that big time veteran. I mean, I'm going to circle Shimaev. I can't bring myself to bet it given the lack of total information that we have in this spot. And like Guru is going to be like slamming me after the fact when Shimaev gets, like a big finish here. And then I'm going to switch my sides and, figure it out in the future. And then boom, that's where it's like, damn, I should have like tried fading. But it's like, is this just the Tom Aspinall versus Alexander Volkov spot all over again? Listen, you know what I mean? Like, is it just like, oh, this guy's got all this experience, we haven't seen him do whatever, and it's just like fucking, like, maybe that's what bothers me about Shimaev is the whole smash, and like, yo, bro, you stole it from Khabib. Like, you talk shit about Khabib to the point where like Ali probably dumped you for that reason.
Ooh.
Because now he's not his agent anymore. He's been wiped from his Instagram, all that shit. I mean, listen, there's probably a whole bunch of other reasons why all that could have happened. Like, there's reasons why I have my biases, and it's like the people that make those fanboy accounts for the Shimaev stuff, like it's like the McGregor and who else is like the really bad, like the and the Colby accounts, it's like you get those same types of people, but that doesn't change like the overall talent of the prospect. And like, yeah, I could totally see it with Shimaev, but I'm afraid to lay heavy chalk at this spot where like he was this big of a favorite against like much worse opponents. So for it to be the same line against Gilbert Burns, I'm like, that's so. I mean, that's all I got on this one.
Nope, you go, please.
No. I just want to bring up the point. It's just like he's fought. The level of competition is nowhere near Gilbert Burns. Now he fought one really talented dude outside of the UFC and Brave, and I forgot what his name is, but like other than that, his competition is nowhere near Gilbert Burns, and that's what like. So like this, I think that's just like. Now, if he goes out there and smashes Gilbert Burns, then it is fucking real, and then I will never.
Until he's fighting Usman, and then we're like, oh, we don't know again. So that's what I'm saying. I think the spot to fade him is the next one. I think the spot to fade him is versus Usman, where you really can't get that dude to the ground, where it really is going to be striking, and it could be a problem.
I just feel like if I don't know. I feel like if he tries to kickbox with Gilbert, I feel like Gilbert's a much better stand-up artist. And he has notoriously heavy hands. And we've never seen Shimaev take a punch in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? Who knows?
I kind of like the Shimaev by finish, like minus 180. And on DraftKings, they have a UFC special. These things never hit. But I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Chimaev by KO and the under 1.5 at plus 200. I mean, to me, that's like full narrative. Like that's what everybody thinks is going to happen. So, I mean, maybe it does, or maybe you want to fade the narrative, bet decision, whatever, dude. Chimaev's going to smash. I think he gets the finish at the end of the day.
Mhm.
I'm all over.
So that brings us on to our next fight. We got Mackenzie Dern versus Tisha Torres.
What a sketchy fight.
Of those three fights, which underdog do you think has the best chance to win?
Oh yeah, I think I for me I had said Aljamain. I thought for Aljamain for sure.
And I lean towards the Burn side, but hey.
And Mr.
What-
Behunin,
I'm leaning Burns.
Burns
Yeah,
as well.
I guess we'll see how it plays out, huh? But now we get down into the portion of the card where we start getting into some closer
The nitty-gritty.
the closer line fights here where you can make a little bit more money without having to throw some crazy parlays out. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet for you guys on this one because my pick is going to be the shorter fighter. We got Tisha Torres, Mackenzie Dern. What Mackenzie Dern has showed me time to time is that she's almost like the Brian Ortega game plan. It's like losing until you win. She very much is not like a great striker. She's been improving. She's gotten her overall physical shape and cardio in much better place than it was in the beginning of her career. I just don't think that she has the layered approach to get inside consistently for her takedowns. And once she gets there, her takedowns just aren't good. So it's like for her to fall into guard, pull guard, for her to roll to a leg for a leg lock when she has a failed takedown attempt. Like those are things that work against that lower level echelon of fighters. And Tisha Torres is anything but that. You see all the striking numbers, Tisha Torres' favor. Even though she does give up some opponent control, their opponent control per takedown is only a 1.5 minutes per takedown. So even if Dern is able to successfully land a takedown on her, she is so very difficult to hold down and keep down. And, I'm not going to write off the entirety of the possibility that Dern, this elite BJJ practitioner can pull off a sub. It's just, nobody's done it to Tisha to this point. And Tisha does not seem like someone on the decline. In fact, at 32, she seems to be in the best shape of her life and more determined than ever to succeed. And given that she's fought in the likes of Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Fiera Rodriguez also, and Willy Zhang and Jessica Andrade, and she goes to decision with all of these elite fighters. Tell me where Mackenzie Dern finds this finish from. And two, tell me where Mackenzie Dern finds the decision. Because at the end of the day, if this thing plays out at distance for any extended period, Tisha Torres is going to be eating her up. So Tisha, just be careful about how many of those front kicks you throw, those side kicks. Like, don't let it get caught. Like, that's the one thing. Throw the leg kicks.
So
throw the punching combos in. And that's where I leave it. Yo, Tisha Torres plus 100 right now.
Yeah.
Give me that.
That's the major problem I have. You said it perfectly. Mackenzie Dern had a major problem throwing any sort of combination or getting anything going last fight. She literally didn't throw any combination. She just kind of crashes forward one strike at a time. Really, she would benefit so much if she had any sort of offensive wrestling at all. Strong single leg, a good body lock double. Nothing, bro. She's got nothing in terms of that. It really, it's quite unfortunate, actually. However, absolutely elite on the ground, which is very, very well known. You see it in the Marina Rodriguez fight. She doesn't even get the takedown. She kind of goes through for a hip toss, and Marina ends up on top. But it doesn't matter because you're not standing. And she takes her and puts her on the ground and then sits on top for the next, 4.5 minutes. Unfortunately, she's not able to get the submission. I just you watch the Tisha Torres Angela Hill fight. I mean, a minute into that fight, Angela Hill caught a kick and took her down. That's a problem. That's a real problem. That's a major part of her game. Mackenzie Dern's going to be looking for that kick. And not to mention, she doesn't need that. You could make a mental error like Randa Marcos, go to the ground. You could slip on a banana peel and go to the ground. It doesn't matter. You end up on the ground with Mackenzie Dern, you lost the round at the least. That's a fact. So that's a real problem. And Tisha Torres is, again, on a 3-fight win streak. And again, she went through murderer's row in terms of her 4-fight losing streak, but like kind of couldn't buy a win. She came into that Brianna Van Buren. She's got married now, but she went into that fight as a sizable underdog, like plus 200 size. So like, it seems very narrative based, which is kind of what I finally want to get to before handing off the baton. Is that what would this line be if Dern didn't just kind of get brutalized by one of the bigger, longer, stronger, rangy kickboxers in the division? That was a terrible stylistic matchup for her. So what would that line be if she hadn't just fought a terrible, terrible matchup in Marina Rodriguez? Alex, what do you think, bud?
Man, I've been kind of flip-flopping on this fight. And I was one of the ones who I thought Mackenzie Dern was 1,000% going to beat Marina Rodriguez. I thought she was going to outbox. I thought she was going to knock her out, honestly, because she's working on her boxing with Perillo and her stand-ups evolving. But I just, after seeing that, and bro, her takedown, her wrestling is so garbage. It is horrendous. And I just don't think she's going to be able to take Tisha Torres down. And like you guys were saying, like maybe, she catches a kick or something. Tisha Torres has never been finished. And she has fought the killers, like you guys said. And none of them were able to finish her. So I think Tisha Torres is going to outpoint her and win a decision.
Yeah, tough to hate that. You see Mackenzie Dern and by submission at plus 215. It's hard not to think about it, but I at the end of the day, I think you guys are right. TB is really fairly good at handicapping women's MMA very specifically. Tisha Torres by decision at plus 130 seems like a damn steal. Plus 140, yeah, that's a steal. So yeah, I like that. We may even want to go the whole that whole DK play that we like, the her and over 1.5. Yeah, her and over 1.5 is minus 110. That's actually terrible. Why would you?
Worse than the,
that's
the
actually
money line.
Yeah, that makes
what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, wait, DraftKings, what are you doing? DraftKings has Tisha Torres money line at plus 100, or you can add 1.5 at minus 110. So that makes no sense. So I'm gonna play a little shot on Torres with you guys money line. I think we might need to put a unit flyer on that just because I think we're gonna lose that plus money.
Hell yeah, man! And
you sold me.
That's it. I mean, that was all I had to say, man. I mean, it. You're right. I mean, I don't know what it is. Sometimes I just be calling them WMMA fights. So that's my feeling. I mean, we got our next one here. Oh boy. Well, we had. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing over here. This is a mess. But we got the recent addition to our main card. We got Vince from Hell Pichel versus Marco Madsen here, man, the Olympian. Well, I mean, we got some old boys out here, huh? 40 years old versus 37. I mean, this one, Pichel's at least got those non-UFC fights under his belt, whereas like Madsen is like got 3 overall. He's 11-0, but I mean, yeah, dude, it's getting a little late to make that big run here, it seems. And like, that cardio, man,
Suspect.
That's didn't look so great as you're getting into the end of the second and into the third round against our boy Austin Thud Hubbard, who Vince Pichel just actually out cardioed in his last fight. Funny enough, but like that's ultimately like this fight. Mark Madsen, I mean, you just look at the numbers and Vince Pichel, I mean, the 25% takedown defense, whereas Mark Madsen's got the 60% takedown efficiency, but Mark Madsen only has 1 minute of control per takedown. And Vince Pichel, for all the times he's been taken down, 20 out of 27 times, he's only been controlled for 1 minute average on all of those takedowns. So tell me how
quantified stats are pretty cool, man.
So tell me how Mark Madsen, Mr. I can't control anybody on the ground or finish anybody on the ground necessarily for that matter. Up here at the UFC level. Tell me how he's going to finish Mr. Vince Pichel on the ground or hold him down for extended periods before we reach that gas out.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, damn, right?
I was gonna lay out a whole thing where I felt like the fight was kind of gonna go one of two ways, but you just kind of poked a giant fucking hole in one of those ways. So the second way is that their wrestling negates each other and it sticks to a more striking MMA fight where I lean with the better MMA fighter, not the better wrestler. Give me Vink Pichel. Like, I mean, because like before, otherwise I was thinking, oh, with his shitty takedown defense, maybe Madsen can out wrestle him and stay on top. But it's all right there. He's not holding people down, and Vink doesn't get held down. So what's he gonna do? Gas out? It's gonna stay standing because they're gonna respect each other's wrestling, like he just respected Clay Guida, and I think Vink's gonna win now for sure. And I actually really like that. So. And what's interesting to me is exactly that, is that like Vegas kind of had him decently favored. And I think Madsen's the kind of cute dog play that everybody kind of likes this week because for whatever reason. So, yeah, let's go with Vink, unless maybe Alex wants to say something different. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, so I talked to Vince, and he.
Oh, Vince! Is it Vince?
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
I thought it's Vince.
Yeah.
So he doesn't let his parents don't like the E. They couldn't afford it, or whatever. Like
I wish I could tell you the story of why he dropped the E, but I totally forgot. So
wait, he dropped it like it was there originally.
He either dropped
it. His name is Vincent, according to Tapology.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. So I talked to Vince. It's my notorious one where he had road rage and he was screaming at a driver. It's fucking great. Anyway. Yeah. He's confident. He said he's gonna knock out Mark Madsen. Which he definitely could. I'm gonna steal somebody else's breakdown. I think it was either Adam or Marcel, but I think Marco Madsen's going to win the first round. Vince is going to win the third round. It's all going to come down to that second round. And it's going to be a shitty split decision.
Yeah, it's fair.
And I think, but I just, because Vince fought Gregor Gillespie, who's one of the best wrestlers in the UFC. So Vince has seen it before. He's fighting now an Olympic wrestler, but I just like his last fight against Clay Guida was not impressive at all. And you could make arguments that Clay Guida could have squeaked that decision out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just think I'm going Vince via split decision.
I love it. Vince by decision plus 195 on FanDuel. I certainly like that. You could also get Vince round 3 or decision plus 150. If he may get that late KO, especially like TB said, if his gas tank is not ready for a striking battle with some clinching and some dirty grappling and shit. Like, yeah. I lean to a grittier fighter in Vince.
And that's the one thing is he has a gas tank and he can go 15 minutes, so he's not going to slow down. Yeah.
So it looks like we're all on the same page there. I like that. And we got right onto our featured prelim. We got Ian Gary, who had one of my favorite walkout songs, Arctic Monkeys, man. Gotta love that. And versus Darian Weeks. So
the future.
Yeah. We got a pretty decent matchup on our hands here from like a young prospect type of perspective. 8-0 versus 5-1, and that one came against Barberena, short notice. Coming up making his debut against a veteran like that. But ultimately, I mean, Ian Gary just has such a distinct size advantage in this spot, and I mean that defensive grappling is pretty serious too. So. While he's kind of, had a few sketchy moments here or there, he has shown the ability to persevere through some ugly moments and ultimately make it happen. Also at the UFC level, I mean, that debut against Jordan Williams, he's getting popped early, but, Darian Weeks, I don't think he actually carries the same type of power overall because of the type of technique he has. I think Jordan Williams is a much cleaner striker. It's just that chin at at 170 isn't quite working out for him. But Darian Weeks, same token, I mean, he didn't seem like the most effective wrestler when he was in there. I know he landed, 4 out of 8, but just like, the control, he barely has any control on a guy like Brian Barberena, who, if you're able to really make him work, generally you could hold him down.
Yeah, we almost liked Matt Brown over Barberena because of the grappling that he may or may. He ended up not doing any, but we had talked about the possibility that he might. And it was Locke who said, "Where did that narrative come from? He doesn't do that." And it's actually, he was totally right. He doesn't really do that. So like you just said, Darian Weeks, the wrestler, looked fairly uninspiring on the feet versus Brian Barberena, and was unable to really implement his game plan in a way that would actually be successful and render him victorious. So like we said, I think that Ian Gary is somebody that, while he may think he's the future, I'm not sure how high his ceiling is. I just don't know that this is the spot to fade him, because I don't really, like you said, Jordan Williams, that was his one shot on the feet, and that's where he gave Ian some trouble. But Ian knocked him out good, man. We were at that fight live. That was fantastic. I know we were nervous. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? And with 1 second left, he finally clipped him. It was really awesome. So, yeah, I don't even necessarily know that he gets the job done in terms of a knockout. I kind of almost like him by decision at plus 220 or something crazy. Fade the narrative like a wee bit.
Yeah.
But I just like Ian Gary to top off our 3-leg parlay there. Big money parlay. Ian Gary, Volkanovski, Jan.
Yeah,
bring it home, baby.
We got a minus 115. We got Gary at minus 310, Jan at minus 460, and Volkanovski at minus 620. You got Ian Gary is now moved from minus 310 where we caught him. I know Guru wanted to get him a little earlier too.
Yeah.
But now he's at minus 365, and you got to figure that's going to keep on moving. So, Alex, I mean, where are you sitting on this one?
Man, I think this is a dangerous fight for Ian Gary. So Ian Gary getting boxed up by Jordan Williams it's kind of concerning. But I mean, UFC debut, jitters. I kind of factored that into it. I do think that him's train. So this is I think it's his second training camp at Sanford, maybe his third.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really gonna play into this fight, and he's just gonna keep getting better, and I just don't know if he's getting good enough yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like sold on him yet. Granted, I didn't watch a lot of his Cage Warriors fights. I've only seen his last 3, so like I don't know. I'm not on the hype train of him yet, and I just don't know. I mean, is there a hype train on Ian Gary?
I think it's more like there's. I mean, the line says that there is, but I think especially you're like we said, you're so plugged into Twitter. I think there's a plethora of haters out there, and to them and to maybe you who's a little skeptical, I'd say, wait, we're not putting him in the title fight yet. Let's just, before we talk about all those holes, is Darian Weeks the guy to exploit them? And it can be concerning. I want to know what you think. Is he the guy?
I think if he gets in a firefight with Darian Weeks, I do think Darian Weeks could finish him.
Yeah. Wow. Do you think do you think he's got power? Like, you think power on the feet? You just think toughness and maybe Ian kind of fades? Like he's just a little like fair, like maybe he's just a little fair weather, good hammer, not a good nail for Ian Gary? Is that maybe your?
Yeah, kind of. But I know I am looking at this. He is much bigger than Darian Weeks. That I did not know that beforehand.
4 inches and 2 inches of reach.
Yeah. I think this is a dangerous fight for him. Although my official pick, if I'm laying money on it, I think I go Ian Gary. I'm just saying Darian Weeks is very dangerous, and he could finish. I think he could definitely finish Ian Gary.
So with your money, if you found a $20 bill on the street, you're not you're not playing Ian Gary by KO or something at plus 125. You're looking at Darian Weeks like plus 300.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
All right.
No, we respect that, and then again, like we kind of said, and like I said, I liked Ian Gary at like minus 190, minus 210, maybe minus 240. Dude is minus 385. Guys, those line values mean so fucking much in this sport. It's so important. You know, there's plenty of good value tickets that sit in the trash. Don't get me wrong, but the line is doubled.
That brings us on to our next fight. We got a heavyweight matchup here. Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Marcin Tybura. I mean, yeah, this one I'm gonna go back to the Greg Hardy litmus test. That's something I really should have paid attention to in the Volkov fight. If you have periods on the feet where you're not looking so hot against Greg Hardy, I can't trust you against a big time fighter. So it's like Marcin Tybura, you got a little lucky that Greg Hardy gassed out. Marcin Tybura, you had Volkov in all these bad positions and you couldn't land the takedown once. Marcin Tybura, yeah, you outgrappled Sergey Spivak. Yeah, you went and had a really good matchup against Walt Harris. You survived the onslaught for a few minutes there, and look, you gassed out. Jairzinho, he's been 5 rounds plenty of times. He's got power in his hands. Jairzinho, minus 155. Tybura, plus 135. I think Tybura is going to go back to those knockout losses. I mean, he had him against Augusto Sakai, Shamil Abdurakhimov, Derek Lewis. We're back on track with Jairzinho Rozenstruik getting a knockout here, huh? I'll take the money line just in case, we get a little tentative approach. But minus 155, that's where I'm at.
No, I here's something crazy going on. Here's some static. No, I couldn't agree more. Jairzinho, man, he shows unbelievable takedown defense as well, right? Like he fights to get back up. He's not an easy guy to take down, right? And you saw that versus Curtis Blades, and you saw that versus what other fight? No, not Curtis Blades. I'm looking at the wrong. Yeah, Curtis Blades. Yeah, exactly. So you've seen that before. So he knows how to get up. And I also think that, like you just said, he's been knocked out a little too often.
I think that's Alex. Is that your
yeah? There's some.
There? Yeah, there it was.
There it was. Sorry, guys. I don't know what the fuck.
You're all good.
Crazy stuff. God damn it, Tank. No, I'm just kidding. But you can't. He's muted. You can't hear it. He's laughing. So yeah, I really think that Jairzinho is gonna be able to starch Marcin because, like we said, and I tried to. Man, that Volkov pick makes me so fucking sick. Oh God, that makes me so sick. Yeah, I think that Tybura is a liability on the feet, and if he's not able to get at the ground and hold it there, which I don't think he can or will, I think Jairzinho gets it done. And Jairzinho looks in great shape too. So there's that. And this is actually one of the first times in a while, right, that Jairzinho is not at a major size disadvantage. Right? Like he's always you always think Jairzinho's big, and then you see him fight these heavyweights, and he's just like this little bald, like cute little baby. And I don't know. I love Jairzinho. I love Jairzinho. It's my dog. He was my Avi for years. Anyway, let's flip it to Alex because we've got our Bet MMA track play on Jairzinho. I think Jairzinho by knockout plus 110 is actually like kind of a steal. So what do you think, Alex?
Jairzinho frozen strike. Yeah, man. I like Jairzinho, but holy fuck, man. He either knocks you out quick or it is a boring fight. And I have a feeling this is going to be a boring fight. I do think. It's either going to go two ways. It's either Marcin's going to take him down and it's going to do what Marcin does, or like you guys are saying, Jairzinho's is going to stuff one of those takedowns and sleep him. Or it's going to be a fucking 3-round
snooze fest,
frozen strike point fest, snooze fest, point fest. Ugh. Yeah, I just
Interestingly enough, I feel like the times we've seen Frozen Strike were against like ever since he got knocked out by Ngannou, and those next couple matchups, he had like those real high level, fast moving like Gon.
Well,
Uh,
Sakai kind of was too until
well,
he clipped him at the end of that round.
no, actually, that was like one of the first fights where you really saw Rosenstrike get out on the front foot a little bit
Ooh.
more than he had been. Because he had those losses. He had Blades. He ended up looking bad after the Sakai fight, but Blades, as he showed, I mean, damn, he's looking good in the stand up. But yeah, I mean, I think now that we've gotten a little bit further away from that, I don't think Tybura offers that same type of like knockout potential from his side. So I think we're going to see Rosenstrike open up a little bit more here.
yeah, and I do think Marcin is very underrated. And he's put on a very good streak. I just he always falters when it's a step up in competition.
Mhm.
And
Bingo.
Jairzinho is a step up, and he'll win.
For sure.
Love it. We need to cash that bet. So that sounds good. I'm gonna dive into Grandma's couch cushion and put a little on knockout just because. Although, yeah, because I don't even like. I don't know who the fuck would win a decision. A decision sketches me out, bro. A decision sketches me out. Oh, so that was one thing I saw. I guess I'll say it really quick. It was an interesting play I thought of. It's on DraftKings specifically. You'd have to parlay it, right? So you parlay Tisha Torres decision only at minus 225 to Rosenstrike finish only. So if there's a finish in the Tisha Torres fight, that leg you get that leg pushes, and if there's a decision in the Rosenstrike, your leg pushes. So I don't think Rosenstrike gets finished by Tybura, so that makes me feel fairly safe. And then you get that at minus 104. So I actually
all right. I mean, you do run the risk of like one of them pushing,
right,
and then
you
have a money like a straight up play on.
If you're winning, for example, if you lay $11 to win 10 there, and one of your legs pushes, now you're laid $11 to win 5 or less.
Yeah.
So fair warning in that respect, but you're getting chalk and with some insurance built in. So
yeah, here we go. We're moving right along. We got our next fight, Aspen Ladd back to the bantamweight division versus Rocky, short notice this time, Pennington. Yeah, at first I was like, oh, Pennington, she likes working in the clinch. She's got the better striking numbers from distance, but as you peer a little closer, it's like not by that much on the offensive side. But yeah, I mean, Aspen Ladd, yeah, it didn't work out at 145 against like someone thick, big, Norma Dumont. Like, man, I could go on for hours, but then you got Aspen Ladd now. I mean, she's a successful takedown artist when she goes to it. So Raquel Pennington, she got taken down twice by Marion Renault. She gets controlled in the clinch by Holly Holm. If Aspen Ladd comes in and makes weight and looks good, I mean, is the line a little wide on Pennington here at minus 180?
Line's extremely wide, and here's why. Like, again, similarly to her girlfriend Tisha Torres, before this 3-fight win streak, whatever, like, was struggling to again, she fought some of the best in terms of Holly Holm, Jermaine Durandame, and Amanda Nunes, but like was somebody considered like was tough to buy a win. Yes, was favored versus of Marion Renault, and that was a close fight versus Penny Kianzad. And then the Macy Chasson fight where she's again a slight favorite, close fight, gets that submission that nobody expects, gets her first finish in like first finish in like 10 years, in 5 years, first finish in 6 years. First finish in 6 years. That's impressive, and all to me continues to build this narrative where Aspen Ladd has never looked worse than she did versus Dumont, and struggling to get to the scales. Can't get to the scales versus Macy Chasson. Can't get to the scales versus Pena and McCann. Like, just all these canceled fights. So that's not great. Which is why you see for the first time, I think in her professional career, you can get Aspen Ladd at plus money. She's always been favored. So as I'm waiting to weigh-ins, I think like most people, but I don't know. I kind of like a shot on Aspen Ladd as the dog here. Raquel needs to 15 minutes of clinch work and pressure, and she's just gonna have to be better than her everywhere. Aspen is younger, more athletic, and if she's possibly as good as her or better than her anywhere in terms of striking, wrestling, grappling, against the fence, anything, if she's something that we didn't see on tape or whatever, if anybody makes one little mistake in terms of that, I think that she's gonna win because she'll be better in a very important spot. So I talk too much. Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, man. I feel like this one also could be kind of a snooze fest, just because I'm not a big fan of watching Rocky fight just because of her clinch, and she wants to push you against the cage and all of that. That being said, Aspen was training for Irene Aldana, who is one of the best boxers in the division. I am very curious to see what she looks like at weigh-ins. But I just think that Aspen is the better fighter between the two. And with that, I think she's younger. I think she's a better striker. I think as long as she keeps out of Rocky's clinch, it should be Aspen that all day.
Interestingly enough, I even think if they get in clinch situations here, like Lad might be the stronger fighter there.
Could be.
If we see, I mean, she looks like she's in great shape going on the hikes with the awesome dog she's got. Yeah, I think Clint, our buddy Diehard MMA, he threw up a little comparison pic of where she was at in hiking pictures from last time to this time. I mean, you can see it. You can see a bit of a difference. Seems like a focused cut, and
Trim thin.
yeah, I'm happy. It seems like we're all kind of consensus here. Lad, is that kind of like a dog of the day type of deal?
Way independent.
Way independent.
And listen, and that line is starting to creep down. No, she was like, wasn't she like minus plus 170 or something? She's
there's definitely some comeback coming in.
She's plus 156. So we're gonna have to see her weigh in and then pretty much make a decision immediately after weigh in. I don't know if we'll be able to wait to face offs or anything like that. One thing I do find interesting, which again probably still might be way into. I don't think so. One thing I do like, little chalky. Why not parlay the Aspen Lad Raquel Pennington fight going the distance with Mr. Madsen and Mr. Pichel going the distance to the tune of plus 122?
I could see a Vince round 3 finish depending on how ugly it gets. So I'm not rushing to play that one, but I mean, I think you could find. I was actually sitting here going that minus 285 fight goes the distance is an interesting parlay piece. So we kind of came on that separately there. That's nice there.
I definitely think it's worth parlaying to something. Maybe so maybe we parlay it to I was jumping ahead. Oh, it's actually the next fight. It works perfectly. Maybe we parlay it to Milad Gall doesn't go the distance, because I kind of like that fight just to not go the distance at all.
Well, that sounds like a good segue to me. So let's get down to business on our next fight here.
That fight not to go the distance is minus 300.
Yeah, Mickey Gall versus Mike Milad. And the only time we've seen Milad go the distance in his career was in a 10-8 first round that he wins, completely gasses out, and loses the next two. So you start facing an MMA level guy like Mickey Gall, a UFC level guy like Mickey Gall, a guy that's got 10 UFC fights under his belt, a guy that's been the distance, in all of his losses except for that Diego Sanchez fight. And you got to give him a little credit. He did say that he came in sick, had a tough time, weight cut, extra tough. Like, it did look like he really was just like gave up in there against Diego. Because I mean, even the Mike Perry wrestling sequences, like, he was being out grappled by Mike Perry and stuff, like not ideal, but like I think Perry's overall game is a little underrated because he did some of the similar stuff against Vicente Luque. So, okay, coming back to Mickey Gall here, you've seen his stand-up kind of improve in his last couple of fights. He wins that first round striking against Mike Perry, at least in my book. Then he wobbles Jordan Williams on the feet twice before he ends up coming up with that rear naked choke.
Right.
So
that was a good fight, but like, it's Jordan freaking Williams, man. He's not in the UFC anymore.
No, I get that. But like I said, I just think you've seen a big progression from where Mickey Gall's game was to where it is now, to where he can at least kind of like hold his own on the feet. And like, I wouldn't say his defensive wrestling sucks. That's for one thing. But like, yeah, if he's pushing the offensive, like his grappling is good. So not elite, his takedowns, like, I mean, we're 6 of 22 that's 27%. He only lands 1 per 15. Like, we're not talking about even a good wrestler here.
Right.
But we're talking about someone that's got the experience. And Mike Milad, like, has taken a ton of time off, had his own neck issues that he kind of retired with. He, like, takes 2 years between fights at this point, except, oh, look, a little contender series, a little scoop of the neck there. And then, I mean, like, he didn't have any hooks in, he didn't have anything, like, technically done there besides wrenching that guy's neck off. And yeah, he gets the submission 39 seconds in, super dry, nice, quick. But, like, what does that teach you about Mike Milad? Like, nothing. So why would I want to take him as the contender series debutant against a guy with 10 UFC fights that I know has, like, kind of a similar overall game plan? And, like, you got the line is minus 195 Mike Milad and plus 165 Mickey Gall. I'm not saying it's like a dog of the day type of territory, but it's like, well, I don't want to touch that favorite. I really don't.
Yeah, listen, our good friend, awesome MMA handicapper at Lucrative MMA said on his podcast this week that one of his best segments, right, that he said that the Mickey Gall fight was the most inaccurate line of the week. He is all over Mickey Gall money line. I find myself really struggling to do it, and maybe it's just because I haven't physically seen enough holes from Mike Milad. I mean, I watched him lose the Hakeem Dawodu fight. That was, it was certainly a showing from Dawodu. The problem with Mike Milad seems like, he keeps his hands low, kind of far apart, kind of can get hit in the face a little too much. Don't really like to see that. But I mean, he looked good, man. He looked so good, obviously, versus, and too good in his Dana White Contender Series fight, which I guess is probably the problem. You don't want to, you didn't really give us anything to work with after we haven't seen you fight in a super long time. Yeah, so how about that Solomon Renfro fight, right, on CFFC 91? That was a super interesting fight. Kind of getting hurt on the feet there until Solomon throws an unchecked, an unprotected, naked leg kick, and Mike clips him, lands on top, and hits him with that quick subby. And then poor Solomon Renfro, after that, eventually he gets a Dana White Contender Series shot. Loses that to Johnny Parsons, and then he goes to LFA, goes to LFA, and in February he got knocked out in 43 seconds as a minus 450 favorite. All that long ass winded story to say that, like, that was one of his best wins, and he was losing. So I can see why, Mickey Gall plus 168 on FanDuel is certainly the value spot. You can't play Mike here, not at minus 210. I maybe like him at like minus 130 or something, but not here.
Yeah,
Mr. Alex, please.
Yeah, this fight is very interesting. Mickey Gall is at Stanford full time. He moved down to Florida. I talked to him last week, and I mean, he's basically grown up in the UFC. His second pro fight was in the UFC. Ups and downs. His striking, he's been working on his hands, and it showed. Like, he could have knocked out Jordan Williams when they fought last year, but instead of standing up, he clipped him and then went down and tapped him. Mike Milad he's very talented, and I know he's like the unspoken treasure of, like, Team Alpha Male, because he's been coaching out there for a minute, and he's very good. I just think if they go to the ground, I think Mickey Gall is better on the ground, and wow. And I think he can I think he could defend all of Mike Milad's submissions, and I think if they keep it standing, I think Mickey is the better boxer right now. Although I don't know, that one's debatable, but I do think I am picking. Well, and also, if you look at Mickey Gall's track record, he's lost, win, and he's due for a win. So
yes,
with that,
here we go.
With that, I'm officially going Mickey Gall.
No, listen, that makes sense. One of the things that I did have the problem with, though, is that if they were like even on the feet, or maybe Mickey's like a little bit better, it's like he's not necessarily going to be the guy that has the power to trouble Mike Milad there. And then I wasn't necessarily convinced that Mickey Gall was better on the ground, because we haven't seen great wrestling game from him, and we see decent wrestling game from Mike Milad. And then you look at Mickey Gall, yes, he's a great jiu-jitsu player, but is that a little overstated? He is a rear naked choke specialist. All of his submissions are by rear naked choke. It is fairly well known that that is his fair go-to. Not surprisingly, when he hurt Jordan Williams on the feet, he went for a sub, and that sub was the rear naked choke. Mike Milad, on the other hand, has a rear naked choke, has an arm bar, has a guillotine. So I like to see the versatility in the use of submissions, but regardless, plus 170 for a guy that with 10 UFC fights is it's too much. So I'm ready to move on to the next one. This next smoke break.
Yeah, this one, Alexei Oleinik was supposed to fight 2 weeks ago. Ends up last second day of the fight, basically getting or maybe the day before.
No, it was the day of.
It was the day of, right?
Leo Latifi's sick.
The Toad, and he still isn't.
Then they
ready
rebook
to
it.
go.
Then
right.
they rebook it, and he's like, "No, you know what? I'm good."
So Jared Vandera,
maybe
boom, Mr. Short Notice.
Maybe Alex, do you know anything about that? Do you have like any inside fighter scoop to that?
I don't. It's so weird. It's so weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's very weird. And his management wouldn't say anything. So.
Any news about how quick this fight came together? Jared Vandera's been in camp. Was he prepared? He was looking for a short notice opportunity. Like,
yeah, he's basically told the UFC, just whenever you need a heavyweight, call me. And with that being said, Jared Vandera is going to win this fight, no matter what.
That's where I'm at.
Okay.
This is an easy fight. Jared Vandera is going to win.
I don't, because to me, Oleinik needs to wrestle, get a takedown, and then submit him. Vandera's a fucking bull. He's just an ox. He doesn't have to be technical. He doesn't have to be good. He just has to be big and strong, and that is what he fucking is. He's just big, strong guy, lumbering. Yeah, he's got one of the worst takedown numbers you've seen, but he got taken down by fucking Romanov a million times. Who cares? You throw that one out. Doesn't matter. And then what was the other one? Was it Spivak?
Yeah.
Throw that out. Throw it out. It's not, at least for here, it's not necessary, because Oleinik, he may have the Russian name, but he's not a Russian wrestler. Like, it's just not, that's not what he does. He likes to strike. He likes to stand and bang. You see it in his last fights with Arlovsky, with these guys, man. He will stand. He likes to wing his punches and throw that heavy right. I don't even know why he's still fighting. I think he's got like a decent size UFC contract. It's not like he's like making 30 and 30. Like, I think he's just making money, and they just keep feeding him. He's 44. Like, we've been handicapping him. I've been saying he's old for 3 years already. So, like,
no gas, man.
No gas.
Yeah. So, like, ultimately, I mean, I wouldn't completely rule out the possibility of a little early takedown submission action. Like, this fight not to go the distance, minus 400. I mean, could that be the second piece to that other?
Fuck that.
Nah.
Wait, you said to go the distance or not?
No, fight doesn't go the distance.
Oh. Right, because you're thinking a knockout for Vandera. No, I just think
like Vandera.
Listen, yeah, because at minus 110 or minus 106 on FanDuel, I don't feel a need to be risky. Like, he should go in there and knock out Oleinik, but like, we've seen Oleinik even recently go the distance. Oleinik just went the distance with Sergey Spivak, bloody, battered, tired, goes the distance. Maybe that was a bit of a fluke, but I don't know. Because, I mean, he got knocked out by? Chris Daukaus, who, if he has anything, it's boxing. And he got knocked out by Derek Lewis. I don't even understand how that fight got made within the last 2 years. I don't even know how that's fucking possible.
Damn. All right. Well, I think
So
I
I'm
stay
actually,
away from this
so I
one.
actually think the chin. Let me hit you with something real quick. I actually think the chin of Alexei Oleinik might be the narrative like to fade. He got knocked out by Walt Harris and Alistair Overeem and Derek Lewis. Those are legendary power punchers. And then the quick, powerful boxing of Chris Daukaus. Bandera, yeah, he's powerful, but he just kind of likes to paw. And he, as you saw in the Arlovsky fight, he keeps pace with Arlovsky in terms of strikes, but they're all leg kicks because he lands like 6 of 36 strikes with his hands. Like he's so inaccurate versus Arlovsky that you could see a decision here. And at, what'd you say, minus 400, it doesn't go the distance. Like that's fucking stupid.
That's it, man.
That being
let me
said,
add
30
one.
seconds and it's over. Yes, please.
Bandera did say that his job, he fully knows that his job is on the line and he's going to win. He doesn't care if it's going to be a 3. He said something to the fact where like if it takes him 3 rounds to grind Oleinik out, he will. So
beautiful. That means
Okay.
he would be comfortable playing it safe just to get a win, which is
1000%.
keeping this guy at a distance, pulverize him, don't gas out, pulverize him, don't get up in a position where he can grab your legs or do something crazy. I actually really like that now.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
love that.
Jared Bandera is a fucking big heavyweight. He is a big dude.
Yeah,
He's a big dude.
And
Huh.
Oleinik
he's a big
is not necessarily a big heavyweight at all.
All right, I think I'm being talked into the Bandera side here. I think
I
you guys are doing your job.
Dude,
I want-
lock
I
it.
got-
Lock. It's a lock.
Like
Wow,
I
all
want to play him at minus 106. Like I would love to hit that right now for 2 units for sure.
Hey, while
I
I
think we'll
introduce this next fight, how would you throw it down on Bet MMA, huh?
All right, done.
All right, 6. So, hey guys, we got 3 more to go. We got Anthony Fluffy Hernandez versus Josh Fremd. Fremd making a short notice debut here, Mr. Factory X. I mean, he's a big dude, 6'4", 76 and a half. At least his regional numbers say that. We'll see what happens when we actually get the face off because, like, I feel like you got to – I'm always kind of nervous to take the numbers from, like, Tapology or, like, the regional scene. Anywho, Anthony Hernandez. And this is a guy that's shown that, you know, he gets hurt to the body.
He's a little fluffy.
Yeah, he's a little fluffy. I mean, that Holland knockout, I mean, sheesh. And then Marcus Maluka Perez with a round 2 submission. So I'm, you know, you see him kind of pulverize Jordan Williams on Contender Series, but he smoked the weed. So yeah, get rid of that one. That's a no contest.
How dare he?
How dare you?
What a criminal.
But then you see his wins here. I mean, he's got a win over Brendan Allen. He's got a win over Jun Park. Grind him out. He's got a win over Rodolfo Vieira. You know, I mean, he definitely has ability. He's definitely a guy that's got the talent. It's just a question of which guy shows up on fight day and what's going to happen. Now, Josh Fremd, I'm watching him, you know, back in LFA, and I had to tell you, I mean, the guy has legitimate power. It's just like he's very plodding on the front foot, eats a ton of kicks, and then, like, when he's retreating, he just moves, like, straight back. And I don't think he's necessarily, like, the biggest quick twitch athlete or someone that's really going to pop out when you watch like them as far as like an athleticism standpoint. So like that wrestling he has in his back pocket, I just don't see him being explosive enough to really like work that on a high level at the UFC. Seems like he gets kind of caught in positions, and then just because of his size and, you know, a little bit of that, like he has more success on the regional scene. But it's like Anthony Hernandez is like a legit grappler. So, you know, should Anthony Hernandez ultimately be like a minus 200 favorite? That's where I start getting sketched out. He's minus 190 and Fremd is plus 160. Like, I don't necessarily love Fremd overall, just like from a straight play perspective myself, but it's like I don't know if I could stomach an Anthony Hernandez at like a 2-1 line. I gotta stay away from this one. I gotta see what these guys look like.
No, you can't. You absolutely cannot play Fluffy Hernandez at this line. And one of the biggest reasons, other than like he's a fairly sketch fighter, is that we haven't seen him in a year now. He took that big check from the Rodolfo Vieira fight. He's had a couple different fights booked: Pauliano Soriano, Dustin Stolzfus, Albo Durev. and they've all fizzled for one reason or another. So now here he is versus Josh Fremd, and Josh is somebody that has legitimate experience versus good competition. Beat Bruno Oliveira. Had a tough fight versus Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop. That was a title fight, and Gregory Rodriguez does what he does. He slept him good. The big problem that you see with Fremd is he keeps his chin up and his hands down, so you get clipped that way. And one of the things that I saw, not only in that Rodriguez fight that ended in his loss, you saw it. Unfortunately, he made the same mistake in the Valente fight, his next fight. He throws naked leg kicks without first going to the boxing, and then without pulling your hands back up. You don't want to throw leg kicks without throwing the boxing first, because then people just come right across and knock you out. That's a problem. I'm not sure that Fluffy Hernandez is a threat to him, though. He's just going to have to be the better fighter, and I think he'd just have to win a decision, because I think that Fremd has decent wrestling. He's good off the ground, and they kind of listed him as a boxer wrestler. So that's somebody that's fairly confident in their hands and also fairly confident in their ground. And like you said, honestly, much more succinctly than I, is that Anthony Hernandez doesn't deserve to be a minus 200 for any reason. So it's a pass, dog or pass, really. And that's basically it. Do you have any scoop for us, AB?
Yeah, I've been watching Josh Fremd for a while. I talked to him his last 4 fights, before his last 4 fights. So I'm very, very knowledgeable on the guy. The thing that scares me is that, like you said, he gets hit. And he told me he told me on Monday that that's one thing that he's been trying to work on, is it feels like he has to get hit a little bit and able to get going. Anthony Hernandez has knockout power, and if you've seen his knockout over Jordan Wright, that shit was disgusting.
Yeah, that was
it's a very, very violent knockout. Fremd thinks that they're going to stand and trade, and he feels like he's basically better all around, and Fluffy's going to eventually shoot for a double, and Fremd is a much better wrestler. So I just the inactivity of Fluffy Hernandez is very eye-opening. For some reason, that dude is made of glass and gets hurt. He just gets hurt a lot. You just don't know, man. And in that Fiera fight, like, that first round was he got beat up, and then Fiera gassed.
Yeah, which has more to do with Fiera, I feel like, and less to do with Hernandez, and that's a problem.
1,000%. I'm pretty sure most MMA fighters could lock up that guillotine that he got on Fiera.
He tapped right away, too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, I do. This does have the ability to be. It could be fight of the night, because these dudes could just come out and swing, and first one to land wins. And I just have and Josh just gets hit a lot. He just gets hit a lot, and that's kind of concerning to me. That's my only like, man. I just but I do think he is the more well-rounded fighter, and he is a legit 6'4". That dude's big. He's big boy.
Okay.
He was chin checked versus Valenta. He got dropped, and what I really liked to see there was 2 things. One, how he recovered from that. He recovered from getting dropped in that first round, late in that first round, and then won the next 2. And then what I also really liked from him was his cardio. His cardio was totally there. Pace and pressure. It was one of the things he does super impressive is the invisible pressure. It's the footwork. It's so many feints, hip feints, jab fakes, shoulder fakes. He's really, really good with that. And especially for somebody that may be dealing with some ring rust and Hernandez. Yeah, get him to go for a takedown and then stuff it and demoralize him and then beat him because you have the better cardio. And Hernandez, I mean, he had better cardio than Rodolfo Vieira, but I don't know that he's known for his cardio. So
yeah, you're 100%. His cardio is very good, and him moving to Colorado like 3 years ago, Factory X, man, those guys are cardio machines. And he has been chin checked in his last 2 fights, and the dude who chin checked him, Greg Rodriguez, chin checked him and put him out. Yeah. But then again, Greg Rodriguez puts a lot of people out. Like, you know what I'm saying? yeah, exactly. So like,
and one thing about that fight too, it was like, dude, he got clipped multiple times. Like he was getting rocked, throwing back good ones, rocked, throwing back good ones, rocked, throwing back good ones, rocked, and then put to bed.
Yeah,
exactly. He had a good chin, like too good maybe, but yeah. Very cool. Yeah. That's so awesome. Yeah, like how you how much you even know about the Cage Warrior stuff. Obviously, because like you've been following him for so long and you talk to him. I just love that inside scoop, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. He's and he's out to prove himself because he feels like people are just counting him out. And so I think I'm picking for him. I think he'll be able.
I lean for him. I see no reason to play Fluffy at all. Dog or pass.
For me, this is a learning experience.
I may not even circle Fluffy like that.
Also, the one thing we have to take in is he was training for Albert, and then he was training for Duplessis. So this is his third opponent, right? So his first one, Albert, he was training for a wrestler, right? Like a really, really, really good wrestler. And then he gets switched to a knockout artist, and now it's Frems, who's a good striker and a wrestler. So,
and all that being said, I mean, you could totally see Fluffy just pull out of this fight like he has his last few. You know what I mean? So it's like,
no, he's not allowed. We just spent way too much time handicapping that. You have to fight.
That's it. So, I think we broke that one down well. It looks like we're leaning Dog City, and that brings us to our next one. We got another super close, evenly lined fight here.
Is the OnlyFans fade live? Is the OnlyFans fade live? That's what I want to know.
The question is brought to the table on Fiera Rodriguez versus Kay Hanson. Kay OnlyFans Hanson. Dropping back down to 115. I'm interested to see how it goes. I know that she had an unhealthy cut in the past, but maybe with some maturity, with the right team at the UFC PI, everything like that. Like, I'm interested to see, like, Kay Hanson, what do you look like this time down at 115? Because you had a lot of success there in the past, and you're not necessarily oversized. So, like, you see her going against this gigantic flyweight and Jasmine Jasudavicius. And, like, honestly, Kay Hanson gets into every position that she wants to, until Jasmine is just reversing her everywhere, whether it's the butterfly hooks on the bottom, whether it's the outside trip with the overhook. Like, she just bullied her around. So now coming back down, you actually got an even size matchup. And like Fiera, she's nasty. Yeah. Like, she like mentality wise, like she's like Roman Dolidze when she gets punched in the face. She's like, like, give me more. Like, it's like, bro, like, chill a little bit. But so like Fiera, like she's very much like patient.
Very patient.
She's not rushing into anything. But then when she lets loose, she will get clipped on her way coming in. We saw that in her LFA fight, and it was like, ooh, like that title fight where she gets the finish in the 5th round. But like, some of those early exchanges, like, I really didn't like what was happening there. And like Kay Hanson, you actually saw a tricky little like check left hook that she was landing over and over in that 3rd round against Jasmine. Funny enough, like, she's having the most success on the feet in that fight, from distance in that fight. But you see Fiera Rodriguez, like, now you're not talking about such a big reach advantage. Like Kay Hanson, if she chooses to go to the grappling game here, which she absolutely should choose to do, she's going to get to those positions. And now with the size being an equal in this fight, I mean, Fiera Rodriguez, we saw her get taken down, and she reversed some stuff, had some success. I see Kay Hanson having a lot more experience here, especially at the UFC level, a little bit of failed experiences moving up. But like, yo, she's got the grappling game. And that Corey McKenna fight, like, damn, that was a robbery, wasn't it?
No,
So
I don't. Yeah, it was. I just the whole thing is super sketchy, right? You want to look at that Corey McKenna fight. She was supposed to be the better striker, and Corey McKenna was supposed to be the better wrestler. Corey McKenna pieces her up on the feet, and Kay Hanson was the better wrestler. Super fucking weird. Then we moved to the next fight with Jasmine Jasudavicius, and I literally still hate myself for that. I was so sketched out. I'm like, Jasmine's a good wrestler, plus 300. It doesn't seem to make sense. I kind of like it. TB, who I gave him his props for being good on the women's MMA earlier, said, "Don't worry, we're good." Was a complete fucking problem.
yo, Jasmine was so unimpressive on Contender Series. It was the size though.
That's how it is sometimes. But like,
I know.
We kind of expected somebody with no wrestling credentials to out wrestle an Olympic wrestler. Like, I wanted to fucking jump off a cliff. It was so stupid. So we get back to this fight. And Fiera Rodriguez has so much power. She's got nice counters, but she's way too patient to counter. So she will wait. Very quick hands. The thing is that makes this very interesting, and why I think the line is coin flip. She is comfortable mixing in the grappling. She is good at the clinch, laying in the clinch. She does have this aggressive attitude to her that you said. She has a plethora of leg kicks that she's able to use, high kicks, snap kicks, push kicks, right? And then, you look at that, right? She's got, we just said, she's got ridiculous power for this division. What is Kay Hanson's problem? She gets fucking hit a lot. She's going to get countered. This girl likes to counter. Patient, Kay Hanson loves to be over aggressive. So why not let Kay Hanson run at you and do whatever she wants to do while you sit back and make her pay for it? Whole thing is super, super fucking sketchy. The biggest problems with Rodriguez is that, she's very stationary, doesn't use a lot of lateral movement really at all. And, willing to throw combinations in the pocket, like we said. So she's open to getting countered. I don't know that Kay Hanson's some incredible counter striker or going to make her pay in really any of these positions at all. This to me is a total learning fight. And it might just be because I've now picked Kay Hanson wrong in back-to-back fights that it's just a learning fight. I don't necessarily feel super enthused to go with like a Dana White Contender Series fade or anything like that either. Like, this girl went the distance and beat the snot out of Valencia Machado, who was like, not terrible. So Kay Hanson needs a win. That's for damn sure. I just don't think that they gave her a favorable chance. This, again, is only coming now 3 months after her Jasmine loss. Like, she basically booked this, within 3 weeks of her losing that fight. So she just wants to get back up on the horse. I respect that, but this is not an easy out. I'd love to hear Alex more than anything here because, again, I think he's got maybe some inside scoop that we don't know. So,
yeah. So Kay Hanson did requested no media, so she did no interviews this fight camp. And her manager said she's focused on it, and she should be, because she loses this fight, she's probably gonna get cut. Which is crazy because she's so young and yeah, exactly, she is. But I'm pretty sure this is the last fight on her. Yeah, it's the fourth fight on her contract. So this is her last fight on her contract. I thought she beat Corey McKenna. I think that was it was a shit decision. I just think this is a tough matchup for her because Rodriguez is she's a dog. I was very, very impressed with her Contender Series fight and her LFA fight beforehand. Yeah. Kay Hanson better use her wrestling because if she doesn't, I think Fiera Rodriguez will piece her up on the feet. I don't know, man. I think the easy pick is Fiera, but I always kind of lean towards fighters that have their back against the wall, and that's definitely Kay Hanson. She knows her job's on the line, her UFC career is on the line. yes, she can come back to UFC later, but I mean, she loses. Her record 7-6.
Yeah, that's not a good
I
record.
mean, not a good record, man. And so, man, what are the odds on Kay Hanson?
The line was like she was like a slight dog, and now I feel like it's pick'em. Is that accurate? Yeah, it's -110 a piece on DraftKings, and on FanDuel we've got -120 on Fiera and -102 Hanson. You saw a boy Die Hard fire on Hanson at plus money earlier in the week.
Wow. So it is. So it's a pick'em. It's a pick'em.
Yeah, and again, and it's one of the things that I've really loved about getting hopefully getting much better at watching tape and scouting. It's just like you see somebody like Kay Hanson, 4 UFC fights, has been a favorite, this and that, and you're like, why is she a pick'em here? And then you start watching the tape and you start piecing together that puzzle, and you're like, oh, okay, I can kind of see it. And again, and then when you start to see somebody with that name value, with that OnlyFans value of Kay Hanson at that cute plus money, start to kind of creep her way back up into that even money pick'em. Maybe she even is a favorite on fight day. That puts me even more on the Fiera side, personally.
Yeah, man, and it's. I mean, the thing about this fight is like I'm really looking at the storyline of Kay Hanson because, like I said, we all agree she beat Corey McKenna. I think it was a mistake that she went up to flyweight to fight Jasmine. She looked horrible. She looked horrible in that fight. It was also her first fight off a layoff. She was dealing with an eating disorder, so that's a reason why she went up in the first place. So all that mentally stuff is on her mind. So I think a focused, having her back against the wall. I think Kay Hanson could pull it off. I think I would bet Kay Hanson. Although, man, Fiera Rodriguez is good. She's good, man, and. I don't know. I'm fucking flip flopping as I'm talking.
I think the fight goes the distance.
Yeah, totally. And if it does,
-170 or whatever, which I think is a fair price.
Yeah, it would, and and then if it goes the distance, who has the better gas tank, right? Rodriguez is coming into her UFC debut. Her first fight is going to be in front of a sold out crowd. UFC jitters, who knows? You know what I'm saying? So all that kind of plays into it. So
love it, can't wait.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So hey guys, we did it. With our last fight here, we got some very opinionated takes today. We got some good back and forth. I hope you guys made it this far. Yo, slam that like. Please subscribe to the channel because we just have fire content coming week to week. We're on a 4-event winning streak right now. And we're looking to close off this card. We got Julio Arse versus Willy Santos. I mean, this is going to be one of those explosive card openers that the guru loves so much. You got Arse at -180 and Santos at +155. Yo, Santos is legit. The type of diverse striking he shows, the different finishes, submissions, knockouts, spinning liver kicks. I mean,
that was beautiful.
The dude has some real crazy finishes on his record. But like Julio Arce, I mean, you talk about people with like a great resume. I mean, yeah, he's lost a few times, but Kelleher, Shaman Moraes, Hakeem Dawodu, Song. I mean, Song Yadong. Yeah. So it's just when he's losing, it's definitely to a higher level guy. And I mean, you got some wins on your resume, like you got Dan Ige. You got Andre Ewell, Julian Erosa, Julio Arce. He's fought those guys, and he's been in close fights nearly every time. Dropping down to bantamweight and taking on Song Yadong proved to not be the best idea. Probably, from a power standpoint, boxing perspective, Guru is all over that one. But you come to this fight, and like Santos, he does throw a lot of looping stuff. He does
tons.
throw a lot of spinning shit. He is gritty as fuck, and you see a lot of round 3 finishes. You see someone that's got cardio, someone that's willing to fight through some shit. But it's like Arce, I just think he's got that touch and go. He's got those straight strikes, that well-rounded game plan. And listen, I mean, I know it's not a lot, but he has shot 10 total takedowns in 7 fights. I mean, maybe against a guy that's looking to do some crazy shit on the feet, you could see him go to that clinch game, that takedown game a little bit.
It's a problem. It could be problematic, and here's why. Daniel Santos has the Muay Thai background. He's comfortable in the clinch. He's got solid takedown defense. He has a nice use of leg kicks where, he's going to punish you at range. He's got the quick hands with the boxing. Somebody like Julio Arce, to me, really likes to have a more technical, clean fight, whereas Daniel Santos loves to walk you down, come crazy, and make it really difficult on you. And like we said, throwing these looping, sloppy punches, yeah, we can use that as a negative, but sometimes when you're fighting these more technical guys that, really want to train in that very technical way, you don't get to train for somebody that's throwing unorthodox, sloppy punches, because that's not the way that you train. You train to be not sloppy, but obviously, you have to be ready for who you're going to fight. This dude, Daniel Santos, to me seems like a fucking beast. And it's like, it's kind of the things that we don't know as much as the things that we do, right? Like, so he had a fight booked on Brave CF and the event was canceled due to coronavirus, but then he gets his call to the UFC. Okay. So he didn't have to do anything extra. He was already on the radar, and they're like, you know what? Why don't you come? They don't just give him some whoever or whatever. They schedule him versus Timur fucking Valiev. Okay. Valiev pulls out. Whatever. No problem. Then they try to replace him with Marcel Rojo on the Lad Dumont card, and then he has to pull out. I'm not really sure why, but maybe he didn't like the matchup anymore, or something was going on. But now he's back, 6 months later after he was supposed to make his debut, and he's got Julio Arce coming off a tough loss that, legitimately knocked out, first time in his career. And, honestly, when we see somebody take the nap, we like to see 6 months. This is 5 months, which means he was in camp 2 months ago. Like, that's kind of a little too quick to be back on the horse when you just got put to sleep for the first time. So I don't want to hit the 2-hour mark. I feel like we've literally kidnapped Alex. So let's turn this over to him.
Timur Valiev ducked Daniel Santos. No, I'm just kidding.
He told me.
Yeah,
dude,
man.
You had me. I'm like, what?
I know. I couldn't do it. Yeah. So this fight's going to be a banger. It's such a great fight to open the card. I mean, to be honest, it should have opened up the fucking pay-per-view, to be honest with you, because I think it's a much better opener than Bichelle versus Madsen. But yeah, man,
I like those guys got their respect, though.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. I mean, I think you guys kind of broke it down perfectly. The only thing, Julio Arce loses to tough competition. I do think he is the maybe more well-rounded fighter, but Daniel Santos he's explosive, he's wild, man. Some of these knockouts are, it's just the layoff is very concerning, and the layoff going into a UFC debut with the jitters, with the opening up you're the first fight on the card, opening the card as your UFC debut,
Yeah,
exactly. So it's wild. So I don't think this fight's gonna go the distance. Someone's gonna get finished.
Minus 110 doesn't go the distance.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Which is great. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
If I were to lay money, I'd probably go Arce just because of the experience and just clearly on the experience. But he has been knocked out. He got knocked out in his last fight. We all saw that. So Santos can catch him, and he's probably coming to put on a show. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's
Yeah, and you know the bookmakers have Julio Arce as that's the thing, they have Julio Arce at like nearly minus 200 here, and that's where it starts to get really, to me, kind of like just more interesting. You get Santos at like a plus 160, plus 170 range. That's really interesting. And honestly, what I do think is, I think as you get closer to fight day, you're gonna see Julio Arce creep down to minus 180, minus 175, and that's kind of more where I would even think about throwing a play on him. Whereas here, it's like, it's just dog or pass. I'm very happy. Or like we said, find a prop. Maybe just the fight doesn't go the distance because, like we said, what Willy Cat's a fucking savage with his finishes. 3 of his last 5 have been finishes, and literally the exact same for Arce. 3 of his last 5 have been finishes. So.
Yeah, it's a banger fight, man, and I don't think it's going 3 rounds. It's someone's getting finished in this fight, and it just, do you maybe lay some money on Santos and fuck it?
Yeah, some grandma's couch cushion might not be a problem on Santos, but honestly, like you said, I think this is gonna kick off the pay-per-view with a banger. I think the crowd's gonna be rocking. I think they'll be there early. And at minus 110, the fight doesn't go the distance. This fight may not even get to the fucking second round. Like, it could be very, very interesting in that respect. So I might throw a unit or two just on the little Alex Behunin play.
Look at that. So
and on that note,
we did it, right?
We did. After we had a week layoff, which was awesome after 8 straight weeks, and now we like literally keep going until mid-May. Wait, before we get out of here, I really do want to know, because I'm so interested. Do you have any thoughts for next week's main event, Luque Bilal, Alex? Because I just was so interested to hear what you might have to say about that. We've never done this, by the way. I've never asked about a main card for the next week.
Man, I think Vicente Luque has said on record 1,000 times that he will never be in a boring fight, no matter who it is, right? And he said that because people were saying the Michael Chiestas, maybe drag it down, be boring. He said, "No, hell no, I will get finished before I get into a boring fight." And I think Vicente Luque beats Bilal Muhammad. Although we could see Bilal, his pressure. I think we see Vicente Luque finish Bilal Muhammad.
Love it. And with a finish, too. Definitely not going to the 5 rounds. Interesting. I love that. Seriously, Alex, I really feel like we've kidnapped you. So let's let you get out of here. It's been 2 hours. Thank you so much for your time, buddy. I really, really appreciate it. I know we all do, seriously. And we're going to definitely have to get you back on again before this year closes out at the very least. Oh, Bilal down.
Mr. Bane. Dropping in big time in the comment section here. Thanks for joining us, man. I mean, can't say enough thanks. And, thank you, Daz, for always joining. And Jew, thanks for stopping by, everybody. Thank you, Daz, once again. Always appreciate you being in here. And thanks, everybody, for making it this far. Throw a like, throw a subscribe on our channel. We appreciate you guys so much.
So, yeah.
Thank you for having me, you guys.
Yeah. Listen, you can find our awesome esteemed guests. I don't know how you could possibly be following us and not be following at Alex Behunin already. But if you need some good Twitter information, MMA information, how about some 109-year-old monks? Like, just follow Alex Behunin, man. That's where you want to spend your time. You can find me at Guru Scouting MMA on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology, or my awesome co-host at TB Scouting MMA, Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. You can catch us next week, Friday night, at CFFC 107 in Atlantic City. We'll be sitting there front row. I'm going to be trying to talk to John Morgan and CM Punk, say what's up. But yeah, come out to AC, come see some fights, come say what up to your boys, and gang, see you then.